comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Sun, here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Darling, I feel the ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright. It's alright.
Yes, good morning. Unity of Gaithersburg on this beautiful sunny day. Isn't it beautiful? My name is Reverend Cheryl Myers, and it is my absolute joy to be with you today. In case you're wondering why we have plants on the floor, this is Palm Sunday. This is Palm Sunday. So we're just excited for this, and we're also excited that we are still in the midst of our season for peace and nonviolence. And we have been working with these 64 ways for 64 days now for several weeks. And today's focus is today, I will forgive myself. Today, I will forgive myself. Let's breathe into that. And there's also something really exciting I wanted to share with you. Unity of Gaithersburg is in Pathways. Look at this beautiful ad that Zaina, our communications director, placed in Pathways. And I will say that she's quite the negotiator as well. So it was financially doable for us. And I just wanted to just share this because I'm just so excited because, folks, we get to get the word out about this amazing community. That's all I got to say. So thank you. So feel free to pick up a copy of Pathways and just show all your friends and say, come on over to this amazing community. We're doing some great things. All right, so in that energy of celebration and joy, let's take a deep breath. And if you feel comfortable, just close your eyes. Yeah. And so as we close our eyes and take a conscious deep breath this morning, we just set a silent intention to open our hearts and open our minds to be blessed by the sacred activity of spiritual community this Sunday morning. And so we just breathe into the love in this room. The love in this room that is enough to transform the world. So thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for your light and your presence and your heart. And so in that intention to be blessed this morning, we extend in love in every handshake and every hug and every exchange with each other this morning. For we know that this space is a microcosm of what it can be out in our greater world. And so we just breathe into that vision and possibility with gratitude. And so it is. Amen. And I also want to extend a welcome to everyone that's tuning in via YouTube live stream this morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. So if you would like to know our vision and mission here at Unity of Gaithersburg, it is printed on the back of the bulletin. It gives you a sense of who we are and what we're up to in the world. And if you are here with us for the very first time, if you would please raise your hand really nice and tall, and an usher will come and give you a welcome packet. And on the front of that welcome packet is a little card. And if you fill it out and give us your email address, we would be happy to add you to our Friday afternoon online newsletter that comes out that tells you all about Unity of Gaithersburg and what's happening here. So let's stand this morning and sing a song together.
decision.
So please take a moment to greet your neighbor, offer a handshake, and ask for a hug. Make your way back to your seats. What do you think of that pathway thing? Please be seated.
Well, good morning. I think the spate of nor'easters is over, I hope. Probably a historic spate of nor'easters, as I recall in the news. Well, good morning. My name's Bill Sunderman, and I'm really pleased and happy to be here this morning on this Palm Sunday. And this week's transformation opportunities are detailed in our community newsletter, and you can receive next week's edition by sharing your email with us. And now is the perfect time to completely silence your cell phones. Thank you. Well, it's time for the Spring Fling. Our second annual Big Spring Prosperity Fling online auction is fast approaching. Yay. Carol Plummer will now come up and give us some details. Yay, Carol.
Actually, you all know the details. So what I am here to do is to open your minds, expand your horizons in terms of where you can get auction items. So I have only asked 5 people for auction items, and I have already gotten 3 Reiki sessions, 2 money clarity sessions, a weight loss coaching session, a golf swing analysis, and a channeling session, okay? And you know what? Everybody I have asked said yes. And you know why? Because it's an opportunity for them to get exposure, free advertising, and potentially new customers. So who do you know? Who do you go to in terms of service providers? What stores do you know? What restaurants do you know? It's really easy. Everybody wants to help and say yes. All you do is get them to fill out the auction item and bring it in so that we can have a very successful auction. Everybody with me? Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Carol. This is truly a win-win situation here. Okay. And thanks for everybody for your donations to the Spring Prosperity Fling. And the prosperity we receive will be a blessing to our community. And now join us this Good Friday service. It's this Friday, March 30th at 7:30 p.m. We will release what no longer serves us and open the way to proclaim our divinity. And on Sunday, next Sunday, April 1st, we'll have a glorious Easter service as we celebrate our divine nature and close the season for peace and nonviolence. And on Easter, please bring a flower that you'd like to add to our community Easter bouquet. We'll have extraordinary music, beauty, and heart connection at these special services. Now, once again, Unity of Gaithersburg is hosting a magnificent week of SEE, Spiritual Education and Enrichment. Classes are June 3rd through June 8th. And this year's theme is Deepening Our Knowing, Shining Our Light. Did you know that Unity of Gaithersburg has been offering continued education weeks like these for over 25 years? Yeah, 25 years. We've been a leader in the Unity movement of bringing quality spiritual classes and outstanding faculty together to provide students with a transformational opportunity of learning, reflection, growth, and fun. Won't you please join us? We'll be glad you did. For more details and registration, go to our website. There's also brochures and flyers in the lobby information center. Our communications director, Zana Davis, will facilitate a social media basics workshop on Saturday, April 7th from 10 a.m. to noon right here at Unity of Gaithersburg. And she'll teach us how to navigate the basic ins and outs of social media. We'll explore Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and more. Bring your preferred social media device and offered for a $25 love offering. Now please center yourselves as we reflect together on today's daily word. Today's focus is on relationships. And the affirmation, I behold the divinity in myself and others. These words written by Unity teachers Richard and Mary Alice Jaffola remind me that I have a divine connection with every person. There is in every human soul that which knows no conflict, competition, or contempt, that which knows only peace, harmony, and love. It is our Christ essence, our divinity. When it's difficult to see my connection with another person, I can improve the situation by lifting my awareness. I redirect negative reactions by remembering the divinity I am, and then I can recognize it in others. In my mind and heart, I connect our higher selves. Beyond the outer facade of hurt feelings, fears, and apprehension, it is our true identity. Seeing the wholeness and divine light in others helps them to recognize it in themselves. As we see it in others, we claim it more deeply in ourselves. And our scripture is 1 John 1:7. But if we walk in the light, we have fellowship with one another. Now prepare for meditation by singing All Is Well.
As I close my eyes and the world disappears, I can feel my breath rise and fall. There's a light inside that dispels all my fears, and I hear a gentle voice calling. All is well, 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 all is
So once again, I invite you to breathe deeply And if you feel comfortable, just gently close your eyes. And begin to consciously just sink into the chair beneath you, relaxing your physical body. And if your thoughts are busy right now, just simply focus your breath into them. Just breathe into the thoughts and breathe out in non-resistance. And so today, we focus our attention on the connection that we share. And so in the stillness of your being, I invite you to bring to your mind's eye a time that you have come together with others and had a shared and uplifting experience. Just allow something to come with no struggle. It could be something as simple as going to a baseball game of a favorite team, singing in a choir, a family reunion, coming here on a Sunday morning at Unity of Gaithersburg. Just allow a time in your life when you have come together in collective assembly and shared an experience. Maybe it was at the march yesterday. Whatever it is, just bring it to mind. And just notice how it felt for you to be in that communion, in that shared experience. There is something incredibly beautiful about human beings coming together in collective assembly, with shared purpose and vision, with a conscious recognition of the connection they share. And so just breathe into that feeling of connection. Was there love there? If there was love there, feel that love. Joy. Compassion. These moments of shared joy or shared pain bring us together, remind us of our humanity, remind us that we belong to each other. So as we move now into a time of silence, I invite you to just continue to feel the communion of a shared experience that has touched your heart and reminded you of belonging in the silence. we are one family. And we become aware of that oneness of our shared humanity and the experiences that bring us together. So just take a deep breath into your heart and allow yourself to feel the connection of the people in this room. Sacred community. And for this, we are so grateful. And so it is. Amen.
There is a longing held deep inside, a certain sadness we try to hide. To feel connected is what we all seek. It's there behind the words each time we speak. Have you had enough of just hanging tough? Maybe it's time to share your heart. Look into someone's eye and you'll realize that it's never too late to start. We are all traveling on the same road, each of us shouldering our separate load. When someone's troubled, we can provide a friend to listen as we walk side by side. Well, you won't have to change a lot or become what you are not. Just begin from where you are. You don't need a reason why to give love a try. You know it's never too late to start. Life gets so busy, it's hard, I know. Who's got the time anymore? We keep on running on down the road. Don't you wonder what the running's for? Just breathe in deep and take in the love you need, and then open up your heart. Don't need a reason why to give love a try. You know it's never too late to start. On running on down the road. Don't you wonder what the run is for? You just breathe in deep and take in the love you need, and then open up your heart. Don't need a reason why to give love a try. You know it's never too late to start. You know it's never too late to start. No, it's never too late to start. No, it's never too late to start.
Today, as we near the end of the season of peace and nonviolence, we remember 5 peacemakers and celebrate their contributions.
Martin Luther King, a leader of the American Civil Rights Movement.
Nelson Mandela, who brought an end to apartheid in South Africa.
Cesar Chavez, who promoted the rights of farm workers in California.
And the Dalai Lama, who still seeks a peaceful resolution in Tibet.
These leaders, and many others, proudly acknowledge their debt to the Mahatma, Mohandas K. Gandhi, who promoted to the end of his life the operating principle of his life, ahimsa, the power and the courage of love. To follow the doctrine of ahimsa means you may not offend anyone, you may not harbor an uncharitable thought even of your enemy. Indeed, the man who follows ahimsa has no enemies. Gandhi said, "One cannot practice ahimsa and be without courage. The practice of ahimsa calls forth the greatest strength." Gandhi died at the hand of an assassin in 1948, the year after India gained its independence from Britain. His ability to stand in his truth, his satyagraha, one small man against an empire, was largely responsible. His strength shows that nonviolence can create change if you have the courage.
One leader to heed that call was Reverend Martin Luther King, Jr. In the 1940s, King was a seminary student. He looked at the world around him and knew there was a growing need for social reform, but he doubted that love alone could do the work. Then he began reading Gandhi's writing on nonviolence, and his thinking changed. He learned how Gandhi had used ahimsa to confront the force of Great Britain, its army, and its politicians. King thought, why couldn't this same policy work for us in the United States? King was able to test his newfound philosophy in 1955, when at the age of 26, he led the Montgomery, Alabama bus boycott, where public buses had always been segregated. As the nonviolent protests continued, bus ridership dropped by 90%. King's home was bombed, and he suffered many of the same abuses Gandhi had. But he stood in his truth and rallied the protesters with Gandhi's own words, cautioning them against any sort of violence. Finally, after 11 months and a case before the Supreme Court, segregation on buses was declared unconstitutional. During a pilgrimage to India, King spoke of the difference between passive resistance and non-resistance. He said, true nonviolent resistance is not unrealistic submission to evil power. It is rather a courageous confrontation of evil by the power of love. In 1964, King was given the Nobel Peace Prize. He has been called the American Gandhi.
The same year King went to India, 1959, the Tibetan uprising was brutally suppressed by the Chinese, and Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama, fled to India. The Dalai Lama had been to India 3 years earlier to celebrate the Buddha's 2500th birthday. Like Martin Luther King Jr., he had sought out Gandhians to learn how India had achieved independence through nonviolence. Concerned about the survival of Tibetans and the country's unique heritage, the Dalai Lama has not called for the outright independence of Tibet or its separation from China. His middle way approach seeks autonomy, eliminating direct rule from Beijing, and giving Tibet the right to maintain its culture and religion while remaining part of China. The Dalai Lama's middle way approach and lifelong dedication to nonviolence were recognized with the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. In his speech to the Nobel Committee, the Dalai Lama said, "I accept the prize as a tribute to the man who founded the modern tradition of nonviolent action for change, Mahatma Gandhi, whose life taught and inspired me." The Dalai Lama acknowledges Gandhi as his mentor, but calls fellow Nobel laureate Nelson Mandela of South Africa, the Mahatma's successor, as a savior of humanity through his struggle for peaceful change.
Nelson Mandela, a young and successful lawyer, became active in the anti-apartheid movement in the 1940s. Mandela warned demonstrators of the difficulties they would face and urged them to refrain from violence. When Mandela and another lawyer opened their own practice in 1952, the first black legal firm in the country, they were inundated with African clients, many of them victims of the apartheid system. Mandela used the courts to good advantage, challenging white authority and building his reputation in the fight against discrimination. As South African authorities used more and more violence to crack down on the anti-apartheid movement, Mandela shifted his approach from civil disobedience to sabotage. "I followed the Gandhian strategy for as long as I could," he later wrote. "But then there came a point in our struggle when we could no longer counter brutality through passive resistance alone. Even then we chose sabotage because it did not involve the loss of life and offered the best hope for future race relations." Mandela was arrested in 1962 and sentenced to life imprisonment for sabotage, making him an international symbol of struggle against apartheid. After 27 years, he was released from prison in 1990, received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993, and became the first president of post-apartheid South Africa in 1994.
Another of our Gandhians is Cesar Chavez. At the age of 21, he watched the newsreels announcing that Gandhi had defeated the British Empire without the use of force. He wondered how Gandhi could have accomplished such a feat. Born to a family of migrant workers, Chavez saw firsthand how Mexican Americans were treated with prejudice. He read Gandhi's autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, and then read everything he could find about Gandhi. Looking around at the exploitation of farm laborers in the United States, he incorporated Gandhi's commitment to ahimsa in his life's mission. During a strike against grape growers in California, he said, "If someone commits violence against us, it is much better not to react against it. People don't like to see a nonviolent movement subjected to violence." That's the key point we have going for us. We can change the world if we can do it nonviolently. Taking a cue from Gandhi, Chavez went on fasts, going without food for 25 days to bring attention to the cause. Cesar Chavez's passion brought religious and political leaders from around the country to California to march in support of the farm workers. After 5 years of protests, some grape growers signed agreements with the union, and the union lifted the grape boycotts. By the early 1980s, the tens of thousands of farm workers working under United Farm Workers contracts enjoyed higher pay, family health coverage, pension benefits, and other contract protections. Chavez died in his sleep in April 1993. Having never earned more than $6,000 a year or owned a house, Chavez nonetheless left a lasting legacy in his commitment to nonviolence and human rights.
Gandhi's example transcended color and politics. Dedicated to human rights and not willing to debase themselves through violence, leaders like King, the Dalai Lama, Mandela, and Cesar Chavez saw that ahimsa is more powerful than armed protests.
As Gandhi himself said, we may not use compulsion even in the matter of doing a good thing. Any compulsion will ruin the cause.
And as Cesar Chavez put it, once people understand the strength of nonviolence, the force it generates, the love it creates, the response it brings from the total community, they will not easily abandon it.
So, these leaders of change, and today, like we've mentioned, is Palm Sunday. And so today we also honor Jesus the Christ, who, according to the biblical story, made his way into Jerusalem this week, the week that ended with his crucifixion. And so all of these leaders that you just heard about, including Jesus, are change agents. And they brought people together for a common purpose. And I believe that purpose was to co-create a world that works for all, where all experience dignity and worth and value, where love is expressed, compassion is expressed through connection. And these leaders, to me, all exhibited one crucial thing that made their ministry sacred. It was presence. They showed up. They showed up no matter what. And, there were no manuals that said how to end apartheid or seek justice, gain civil rights, or heal the sick or raise the dead. These leaders modeled what's possible when you show up and you stand in the wilderness. And for those of you that have been here over the last 5 weeks or so, we've also been reading Brené Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness, where she talks about the wilderness is a place where we take a stand, and in that stand, we embrace a level of self-belonging. Because sometimes when we're standing in the wilderness, I'll assert most times when we stand in the wilderness, like these leaders we've just heard about, and Jesus, they stand alone. And so what it takes from them is great courage and great trust in the wisdom and the passion and the vision that's on their heart. Jesus knew when he walked into Jerusalem that Sunday that there was a price on his head. Instead of avoiding, he showed up. He connected. He did what was his to do from the wisdom of his soul, and he did it without killing or hurting, even though his life was threatened. He stood in the wilderness. He showed up, he took the hands of his disciples, and he stood his ground. And his presence and consciousness was the transformation. He modeled how to stand in the wilderness and feel connection with himself and with those around him. He modeled showing up in compassion and love and forgiveness. He modeled the sacred ministry of presence, regardless of what was happening around him. And to me, that speaks to every one of those amazing leaders that you just heard about. There's something really beautiful about the ministry of presence. You know, I've taught that because it was taught to me in my pastoral care classes in ministerial school. And so I have translated that information over to the prayer chaplains that you have here. These beautiful souls that wear these little purple stoles that pray us in, you know, at 10:40 every Sunday, and that sit across from you after the service and hold space and listen to your prayers. And they, in turn, as they listen and they hear you, they hold presence. And what we've talked about in our time together as prayer chaplains is that, you know, there's really no right words to say. Have you ever noticed that when you've been sad or maybe you've had an experience of pain in your life and a good friend has come to you, has it really been about what they've said or has it been about their presence? When they reached out and they took your hand or put their arm around you and just let you know that their love, their compassion, their heart was with you. And so today in Brené's chapter of Hold Hands with Strangers, I was at the march yesterday. Who was at the march yesterday? Yeah. And whether you were at the march yesterday, whether that's a cause that's really on your heart, one of the things that was so beautiful to me yesterday was the ministry of presence I saw expressing. People showed up to support those amazing, beautiful, powerful, courageous students on that stage. And there was something about, here, they said there were 800,000 people there, and there were about 5 of us together from Unity of Gaithersburg. And I just felt the kindred connection of everyone there. And there's something so beautiful about that, the connection. Everyone was kind to each other. Everyone honored the space of the other person standing next to them, whether they were shoulder to shoulder, holding signs on the metro, in Union Station, wherever it was. There was just this beautiful synergy of connection. And folks, because this is on my heart, I really got at a deep level the sacredness of our collective assembly when we come together in sacred community. And that's why it just jazzes the heck out of me to come here on Sunday mornings. Because there is something so sacred and so beautiful about coming to one room, one space, one campus. There's a lot of other places you could be this morning. And coming together in sacred community. So I'm going to ask you to do something, and this is a little vulnerable. They're like, oh, geez. But what I'm going to ask you to do is wherever you are, I'm going to ask you to reach out, and I'm going to ask you to touch someone. Either you don't have to hold their hand if that doesn't feel comfortable. Just reach out. If you're sitting by yourself, just put your hand maybe on someone's shoulder. And you guys connect. I'm going to come around and I'm going to find out it's okay. Someone. Okay. And so let's just take a moment and just notice your experience. Notice if this feels awkward to you. Notice if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till this is over. Just notice your experience. But what I'd like for you to do right now, and notice if you just want to giggle or laugh because you're just like, oh, I feel nervous. Or if you just want to sit in the lap of someone, that's unity. If you're here with us for the first time, I hope you don't run screaming from the building. But what I would really like for you to just breathe into right now, the person that's touching you has felt sorrow. The person that you're connecting with has experienced loss. The person that you're connecting with has experienced joy. The person you're connecting with has felt love. Folks, it's so beautiful. Every single person, I don't care what they're saying on Facebook or what sign they're carrying or how they feel about a certain issue, everyone has shared humanity. We belong to each other. And so can you take a moment to just breathe into the connection that you're sharing with the human being next to you? You are expressing a sacred ministry of presence right now. You can let go now if you'd like to. And just notice your experience. Just notice. So, we aren't strangers. And you know, it doesn't have to be that you go running up to someone on the street and grab their hand. They might run from you. But how the sacred ministry of presence can show up is a handshake, a smile, holding the door open for someone. Yesterday when I was going down the metro, I said, I'm going to put this in practice. And sometimes when I'm riding on the metro for that long, my tummy doesn't really like it too well. And so I decided, what can I do? So I started talking with a couple. I didn't even notice when it was Union Station. It was so wonderful to just connect with them. And on the way home, this beautiful junior in high school named Solomon from Liberia asked me through an extended hand, hi, can I sit with you? I'm like, you sit right here. And we talked nonstop for 45 minutes. And I got to hear this young man lives in South Bend, Indiana. He really wonders why he does that. He used to live in Liberia and misses it so much. But his family's in South Bend, Indiana, and he came to the march because it was a passion on his heart. And he shared with me for 45 minutes his passion for life. He wants to be a doctor and why this march means so much to his heart. I left that train ride inspired and empowered by the light of this precious soul. Folks, we belong to each other. And more than any time I can ever remember, we are being called to remember this and claim the sacred ministry of presence. Let's show up wherever we are. And I know it takes courage, and I know sometimes it's vulnerable, but I know we can do it because we are pure love. Are you with me? So this week, let's do it. Let's just create opportunities for ourselves to connect, to talk to a stranger, to reach out, remembering that we all share humanity, that we all belong to each other. All right, let's affirm together. I reach out and courageously extend my heart to interact with others. Together, we deepen our connection, shared humanity, and belonging. And so it is. Blessings.
Thank you, Reverend Cheryl. What a great message. And thanks for the Theater of the Spirit. What a great tribute.
Yes, thank you, Theater of the Spirit.
And now is the time to give from our unlimited abundance and open hearts. As you hold your tithes and offerings in your hand, here's some prosperity wisdom from Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth. Think, give, and you will receive. Think of every relationship as an opportunity to give. Think not what you're giving in or giving to, but rather think of what you're giving from, and thus feel humble in realizing that you're simply giving way to the divine flow. Let's now affirm our offering blessing together. Divine love, I am, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I'm so grateful.
Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to feel in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love, love, and love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Nothing you can know that isn't known. Nothing you can see that isn't shown. No way you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. 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 Love is all you need.
Let's give some love to our wonderful music team. So awesome. All right, well, let's stand and sing in our youth.
Got you, I got me, I got us coming together. I got you, I got me, I got us coming together. One heart, one mind, one love, coming together, coming together, together, coming together, coming together. together, coming together, coming together, coming together, together. One heart, one love, coming together.
Please be seated.
Hey, Evangeline, come on, guys. Hey, guys.
Now that's joy.
Well, happy Palm Sunday. Good morning, everybody. The kids. Hey, Evangeline, come here, love. Come here, sweet thing. Let's laugh here. So we continued our education this week on the events of the Holy Week, and the kids reviewed the events related to Good Friday. It's hard to focus right now, let me just tell you. So let's just go right into messages. How about that?
This Easter season, I release any beliefs I may have on limitations, and I trust in my sacred power to be and do whatever is necessary for a loving and powerful life.
This Easter season, I free myself from any destructive fears and thoughts, and I claim the freedom and the knowledge I need to achieve my goals and my dreams.
This Easter season, I claim my divine power and my ability to be all that I am choosing to be, in love and in peace and for the highest good of all.
This Easter season, I affirm peace on earth begins with me.
Thank you. Let's all stand. Let's bless our children. You are the light of the world. Live as the light.
Let's join hands and sing our peace song. a beautiful, peace-filled week, being that presence of love. Bless you.